Hi guys. Glad to have you back for my new video. Today I would like to introduce you to the Canon EOS 1N. This model is the further development of the professional camera EOS 1, from 1989 in the analog Canon EOS 1 segment, and thus the second EOS 1 camera model. In early 1995 I bought this model, and it still accompanies me today. Canon offered different variants of its EOS 1N. Canon EOS 1N. As a basic model, without external motor or battery grip, the continuous shooting speed, in this configuration, is up to 2.5 frames per second. Canon EOS 1 DP. As a model with battery pack BPE1. This took 4 AA batteries. In addition, you could still resort to a CR2 6V lithium battery, which was housed in the camera body. Of course, replaceable. Continuous shooting speed was up to 6 frames per second in this configuration. Canon EOS 1N HS. This is the model I own. The base model here was upgraded with the booster E1. This requires 8 1.5V AA alkaline, nickel cadmium or lithium batteries. An E1 nickel cadmium battery pack can also be used. An additional camera battery in the housing, as with the Canon EOS 1N DP, cannot be used. Continuous shooting speed is also up to 6 frames per second in this configuration. In March 1995, Canon expanded its lineup with the Canon EOS 1 RS, a camera with a partially transparent, fixed mirror. This technology had already been introduced in 1989 with the EOS RT, and was improved in the EOS 1N RS in terms of shutter lag, among other things, from 0.008 seconds to 0.006 seconds. The camera's operation is logically structured, and all important functions are clearly described on the respective buttons. Those who have already worked with a Canon EOS of the 600th series, or a Canon T90, will immediately find their way around. Most functions are selected by pressing 1 or 2 buttons, and turning the main dial on the right side of the camera. The on-off switch is located on the back, and confirmation sounds can be activated optionally. On the top left of the camera, the mode button and turning the main dial, select the various automatic functions in typical Canon fashion. The bulb, B setting, for long exposures can also be accessed here. The AF, autofocus button, can be used to easily switch between one-shot, single AF, to continuous autofocus, AI servo. The film speed can also be changed by simultaneously pressing the AF and flash exposure compensation buttons, and adjusting the main dial, if the inserted film does not have DX encoding, and thus an automatic film speed adjustment by the camera, or if the film speed is to be adjusted for other reasons. Further setting options are multiple exposure, and the choice of metering method. On the right side of the camera, the display shows you important camera settings. You can also illuminate the display, or set exposure compensation values here. If you want to set the time and aperture manually, this is done via the main dial, and the dial on the back of the camera. You can set these and some other functions individually, via 14 different costume functions according to your wishes. The camera still offers me all the functions I need. Compared to its direct opponents, the Nikon F4, and later the Nikon F5, it only lacked the interchangeable viewfinders. And this may be, for some of you as for me too, the biggest drawback of the Canon EOS 1 models built for film photography. Although the Canon EOS 1N is ruggedly built, a Nikon F5, which I also own, still seems a bit more ruggedly built. However, My heart has been attached to Canon since my youth. Models of this company accompanied me since I was 16 years old. Canon FTB, A1, T90, EOS 600, EOS 1N, EOS 1D Mark IIN, just to name a few. The portrait format shutter release is also very practical. You can switch it on and off. By the way, you can download the complete manual of the Canon EOS 1N on my homepage, apertureonepointfour.com. In this combination, the camera requires 8 AA batteries, rechargeable batteries or Canon's battery pack. These 8 AA batteries will power the camera for months. After inserting a film and closing the back cover, the film is automatically advanced to the first frame. At the same time, the camera's electronics scan the DX code and set the film speed accordingly. Also, the camera now knows whether you have inserted a film with 12, 24 or 36 exposures. After the corresponding exposures, the film will automatically start rewinding. However, you have some options to adjust this behavior of the camera. For example, you can choose a quieter film rewind, or you can decide whether the film should be completely rewound into the film canister, or whether a piece of the film tab should remain visible. The former pleases the wedding photographer, the latter the self-processor. Behind a flap on the right side of the camera are more function buttons. Here, the transport speed of the film can be selected in 3 stages. The respective speeds depend on the battery pack or booster used, except for the single frame transport. This is of course always available. Self-timer can also be activated in 2 settings, 2 or 10 seconds. Furthermore, the battery check button, the button for setting the individual functions, cf. the setting of the exposure bracketing functions, as well as the delete button of all individual functions, reset, are located here. I would like to give the following features of the camera a particularly positive rating. Tidy viewfinder information. Exchangeable viewfinder screens. Here you can see the grid adjustment screen, with autofocus measuring points. Light level in the viewfinder, which can display the exposure deviation in manual mode in thirds. This light scale also shows set exposure corrections. Various metering methods, evaluative metering, selective metering, spot metering and spot metering, with coupling to active autofocus metering point. In bulb mode, display of exposure time up to 120 seconds, fast and precise autofocus. All Canon EF and E lenses can be used without restrictions. Of course, the built-in image stabilizer of the corresponding lenses works as well. 14 individual functions. Again the hint, the original manual for the Canon EOS 1N can be found as PDF file on my homepage for downloading, apertureonepointfour.com. I do not want to withhold some important controls from you. A lock button, focusing point selector, film rewind button, quick control dial switch, custom function set button, battery check button, film winding mode selector, clear button, depth of field preview button, shutter button, X, contact, lens release button, remote control socket, dioptric adjustment dial, viewfinder eyepiece. For long exposures over 30 seconds, the bulb setting must be used. The Canon 60T3 remote release can be used for this purpose. It has a locking mechanism, so that long exposures over 30 seconds are comfortably possible, until the batteries are exhausted. In addition to the remote switch, 60T3, an adapter was offered for use with a cable release, Canon Cable Release Adapter T3. The Canon remote switch, RS60E3 remote release can also be used via the remote switch adapter T3 adapter. Remote switch adapter T3, here with a Canon EOS 620. The models Canon EOS 1N, Canon EOS 620, Canon EOS 650, Canon EOS 600 and RT, as well as other EOS models from the early days of the EOS system, all use the identical connection for remote releases. Another important accessory for me, especially since the viewfinder is not interchangeable, is an angle finder. Here you can see the angle finder, B version. It offers a diopter adjustment, and can be rotated 360 degrees. Shooting from ground level, such as in macro photography, or from a tripod, also in landscape photography, when a lower camera viewpoint is desired, and a comfortable view is to be provided, an angle finder is a great accessory. The Canon Angle Finder C additionally offers a switchable magnification from 1.25 to 2.5, here the center of the image is magnified out. The optical performance of both angle finders is perfect. You will be rewarded with a bright, sharp and high contrast image. Of course, you have the entire viewfinder overview, including viewfinder displays and information. For macro photography, you can buy a special macro flash unit. Here you see the Canon ML-3. It supports all flash functions of your Canon EOS 1N. I bought this unit for €30 at an auction. The macro flash offers two separate flash lights, which can be fired separately or together. Thus a modeling of the motive is simply possible. Please have a look at my brochures on this topic, and many more, which I have made available for you to download as a PDF file on my homepage, apertureonepointfour.com. Also, you can find a video here on YouTube, which I made about this macro flash light. The adaptation of various lenses, from different manufacturers to mirrorless cameras, be it Sony A7, A9 or A1 series, to the Nikon Z system, or to Canon R-mount cameras, is well known. It goes without saying that the adapters usually come without a lens system. This means that no negative effects are possible due to a lens system. For SLR cameras, the possibility of adapting is very limited, if an adapter without a lens system is to be used. It is often not possible to achieve infinity focus without a lens system. However, There are a few exceptions. I show you one of them here. With the help of a very flat adapter, it is possible to use all Olympus OM lenses, which were made for analog film photography, on any Canon EOS with EF bayonet. Here you can see the Olympus OM G-Zuiko Auto-W 3.5-21mm with this adapter. Olympus was known for building very small, compact lenses, and they did so without skimping on optical or mechanical performance. The lens shown here rounds out the bottom of my Canon EOS system as a small fixed focal length that fits in any camera bag, no matter if analog or digital. Even on my Canon EOS 5 DSR, it makes an excellent impression. Of course, you have to do without the autofocus. The exposure metering, on the other hand, works as aperture priority. The aperture is preselected on the lens. The camera automatically determines the appropriate shutter speed. At the end of the video, I would like to thank you for your interest and time. About a like, or a new subscriber, I am very happy. Subscribe to the notification, so that you do not miss a new video from me. See you next time.